Okay.
This is the bar right here that's broken off.
Okay.
That's the trailing arm.
What'd you call it?
Trailing arm.
Oh, trailing arm. Okay.
This is one of the sway bar links that's loose.
Okay.
So this is your lower trailing arm. That one's fine. That one's all intact. That one's broken.
Okay.
Rear brakes are getting low.
Okay.
Still got a little time with those. This side, this sway bar link is broken. It's not attached anymore.
Okay.
It used to be connected right here. Mm-hmm. But those are very common on these Trailblazers. Same thing with this side with the brakes. Tires are good.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, this is your outer tie rod.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't have any kind of movement like that.
Okay.
When you had the tire on there,
Yeah.
quite a bit of play. And then same thing when you grab it top and bottom, that's where you feel movement out of the bearing inside of here. That's from the wheel bearing, which is probably why you're getting that ABS issue. These right here, that's the sensor. That's a cable for the sensor that goes to that wheel bearing. So that's where it disconnects right here. And that's the electronic portion of the braking system.
Okay. Is that tire rod? Is that the one where we see people with a tire is caved in and they have like
So
the red
it
light?
could be because of a tie rod or a ball joint. When the ball joint breaks, that'll cave that tire in
Okay.
or out.
Okay.
Yep. Or when a lower ball joint breaks, it'll kick the wheel out.
Okay.
Mainly on like Honda's Acuras, you see that quite a bit.
Okay.
Different type of setup, but yes.
Okay.
Front brakes are good. Tires are
Okay.
good.
So the only thing good is the tires. That's fine.
Like I
Okay.
said, all them codes that were stored in there. So that's for inspection, the lighting issues, the broken and loose parts, the engine light issues. All of that stuff is going to need to be addressed for inspection.
Okay.
You know, that's the bigger things that you need to go after. I mean, and I don't know, what you're looking at doing with it. I mean, if you want to keep this thing going, I mean, somebody's going to have to get to the bottom of that whole electrical issue with the lighting.
Right. So
Making the headlights work properly, making the tail lights or the parking lights in the rear. You need at least one reverse light. That's the only one you can do with one. License plate's got to have both. Reverse, for whatever reason, you only need one.
okay. So do you guys do the low beam?
Yeah, I mean, I can, and it's
Because
like I
that's
said,
that's
what
does that consist of? You got to go in and see what's going on.
So
Yeah.
it could be something stupid and simple. It could be a defective light bulb. That's the first thing I do is grab a light bulb and plug it in and see what happens.
Okay.
If that doesn't fix it, I want to check power grounds from that socket where it plugs into the headlight. It could be a blown fuse. It could be a bad headlight switch. It could be traced down to a broken wire, bad body ground. It could be something in the body control module. A lot of different things. Anything electronic, and especially when you got multiple issues and it's both sides and it's not just one, that's going to scream out to me that there could be an issue.
Okay. But
So it could get very extensive as far as what you need to dig into as far as figuring out where the problem is.
so is the repairs more than the vehicle? Right about now.
It depends
That's
on
what we get.
It depends on what the car is worth to you.
Okay.
It is going to need a lot. Just to,
Okay.
like you said, we're overdue for inspection as it is.
Yeah. I think.
Just to get through inspection, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat. It's going to need a lot. So
Okay.
that's where, kind of pick your battles. Either take your chances and drive it the way it is. I wouldn't recommend it. Just with the broken or loose parts. You also get a chance driving it with an invalid sticker. No low beams.
Right. I know. I
got
just
multiple
need
things
what
that you could be pulled
I know.
over.
I need to. All that other stuff need to be done. But is that part of the New York State inspection? Up under?
So
I know.
the tie rod, that's loose, the wheel bearing that's loose, the broken sway bar link in the rear, not the loose sway bar link, but that broken trailing arm, the lighting issues, and then the engine light.
Yeah.
All that stuff is inspections.
Okay.
But the tires are good.
We got that.
I just want to keep
Yeah,
reiterating what's
right.
good. You know, so, and like I said, I mean, I have to get in to do some diagnostics on it to figure out what we got going on. It would be one fee, and I try to tackle all this stuff, but I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there. Large leaks, that could be due to either the gas cap seal, it could be a good sized leak in one of the lines, it could be a bent solenoid that's stuck open that's not closing. So evap system.
That might, because sometimes, okay, so when the car is on, it'll be like it's something in the vent knocking, like it wants to close.
Okay.
Like click, click, and once I put the vent up on the head for the head, it'll stop after maybe a minute, but it does sound like something's trying to close on top in the vent system.
When you first start it?
When you first started, it make like a.
Here's another thing with these.
Okay.
It's very common. This is called your secondary air injection pump.
Okay.
Very common. You see how they very, very smartly routed all this that comes down from the top, and they put an electronic motor or pump down here. These things, what happens on every single one of them, there's a valve that's on the side of the engine. That valve gets stuck open, allows moisture to travel down these tubes and fills this thing with water. What happens when a pump gets full of water? Electronic pump. It gets frozen and it stops working. You've got a relay that's on the side of it, so it sends power through here, it tries to kick that on, and it doesn't work. Which will also cause an engine light issue.
Okay.
For secondary air system. Brilliant design.
Okay.
I'm very sarcastic right now.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if that's what you're hearing clicking. The vent solenoid for the evap system is back here. That is a very common failure on every GM ever made.
Okay.
Mine included. But what that does is that closes off, allows that system to build pressure or vacuum, and that opens to release it when it's commanded to. So it can change pressure depending on how much gas is in the car. It basically does its own kind of load test and applies vacuum and then releases. But if that's not working properly, if it's stuck open, and it's trying to build pressure and it's stuck open, it's going to think there's a large leak somewhere because it's just going to keep blowing the pressure.
That might be the evap.
Same thing as having a gas cap that's wide open or left off. It's just going to not fill any pressure.
Okay.
So that's what we got to figure out where that's coming from. Now with those, that solenoid gets stuck and stops working, or the wiring harness also, because the end of it tends to corrode quite a bit. There's also a section of wiring on these that runs along the frame rail that tends to corrode and break too, that comes right in the fuse box. So it could be just electronic. Generally with that though, you're going to have a circuit code, which we don't have.
Okay.
So that I would basically hook up our machine, hook up our scanner, try to close out the system, build pressure, and see if and where it's leaking from. Fan speed high. That is to do with the electronic fan, which is very common on these as well, and they're not cheap. You're probably somewhere in the $400 to $600 area for the fan assembly. That's all it is. What happens with those is they got a section of wire that plugs, or a harness that plugs into the fan, and then there's a section that comes off of that goes to the electronic fan, the thermal fan clutch. Those wires tend to get frayed up, and then they make contact and cause the circuit to short out.
Okay.
That's what I've seen on these. Let me stop right there. I've worked on a number of these cars. Not my first bet.
You what?
Not my first bet.
Okay.
Because there's a number of different issues. Like I'm pretty familiar with all the problems that go on with these things. Idle airspeed too low. That could be something to do with the electronic throttle body.
Okay.
Those are not cheap also. So just the engine light stuff alone, if it's things that I'm thinking of, that's going to be upwards of over $1,000 to repair all the stuff for the engine light. This other code there, the P1400, I'm not sure. Without looking it up, I don't know what that is. That could be something that's a 400. Could be something to do with like the EGR system. It's not going to be, shouldn't be secondary air. It's going to be like 410, 411. That's more EGR related system. I'd have to do some homework and searching on that one and figure out what that means, what that is. And then outside of that, all the safety stuff. You know, this arm, the tie rod, the wheel bearing, figuring out the lighting issue. If I had to put a number on it to get through inspection, I'm thinking you're probably somewhere between 25 and $3,000. Throwing a hard number on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to get through inspection to get a sticker on it. So that's where you got to consider that too.
Yeah.
Is it going to be worth putting that kind of money into it? 155,000 miles on it. You know, it's like, what's it worth to you at the end of the day? Paid for? Do you want to keep this one going versus looking into something different? You know, you get something used, what's that going to be? Or do you take out a second mortgage to buy another vehicle? You know, the way these new vehicles are nowadays, it's like mine. I went and looked a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Mine. I went to the dealership and I laughed at them.
Yeah.
To me,
That's you don't want no car.
I don't think they dropped any solid gold into these new cars, but apparently they did. They bargained for it. But yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do with it, I mean, I can just help you out with making the best decision possible. And really all I can do. It's a lot. It needs a lot.
Okay. So that's what I'm
I don't
gathering.
want to sugarcoat it and say it's not that bad.
That's what I'm gathering all the information. Okay.
Yeah. But that's where we had to start. I mean, you know, like I said, better we do it this way versus having you come in and do a state inspection. I take off your sticker.
Right.
I charge you $21.
Yeah.
You leave, you're mad.
And got 10 days to get all that done. Yeah. Okay, so I'm have to send this. I'll send this to him.
Talk to him, see what he wants to do.
Okay.
No sense in doing anything with the alignment with the loose front end parts and the broken parts in the back here. It's not going to do you any good. Especially that tie rod. That's where you make the toe adjustment, which is one of the more crucial adjustments for the alignment. It's going to have to be aligned after that's done.
Okay.
That to me is one of the more, outside the broken one back here, that's one of the more dangerous parts up in the front end. That's something I would prioritize.
The tie rod,
if you're going
right?
to continue driving it,
Yeah.
Definitely. That along with this broken arm here. The broken sway bar link in the back, is that really going to affect anything for you safety-wise? No.
Okay.
Does it fail inspection? Yes. If it were, you know, your inspection not due till December, I'd tell you don't worry about it until it's time for an inspection if you want to wait.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt anything. Worst thing it can do is, you know, because that's not connected, worst thing that can do is swing around and then you hit a big bump or something and it hits something else and causes something else to get damaged in the process.
What causes those to break, though?
All it is, and when I look from this side, you can see it a little bit easier. It's opened up here.
Yeah.
All it is a ball and socket assembly. So there's like a ball that's right there. And then it goes inside of this hole right there. So over time, and like I said, that's something that's going to make more noise. Like when you're hitting bumps, it's going to sit there and kind of rattle. And it basically, you see how that round hole is now like ovalized or egg-shaped?
Yeah.
It basically continued pulling and opened that hole up, and then it just separated. So it's kind of like, if anything, like a shoulder, like a ball and socket. It's just kind of rotatable and all that.
Okay.
But yeah, like, see how the kind of movement you can get out of this?
Yeah.
That's supposed to flex like that, but it's not supposed to have any kind of movement or play.
Okay.
Like when it's connected, you can do this.
Okay.
Like I can feel the play on the other side by shaking this one. Taking this side of the bar, I can feel the play in
So
that.
I'm assuming the brakes and the rotors is okay?
So they're about 2 to 3 millimeters left on the pads. You can see the little bit of grooving
That usually
through
be the
those.
first. That usually be the first thing people say. The brakes and rotors.
They're
Very
definitely
minimal.
low, but you have some time.
Okay.
Yeah, some time. When it's time to change the pads, I would change those rotors too, just because of how they're grooved.
Yeah.
That finish, it's kind of like a record.
Oh yeah.
It will potentially, and see, it's kind of glazed too. It's more shiny in some spots. That will tend to cause like more squeaks and squeals. The grooving will cause the pads to wear prematurely and irregularly.
Okay.
That's a lot, but that's about it.
Okay. All right. Let me send this to him.
Yeah.
I know it's none of it's getting done today. For sure. So, but
Yeah, now talk it over, see what he wants to do with it. If I can help you with it, definitely let me know.
okay.
I'll do whatever I can to help you out. You know, I know it's a lot, and it's kind of the time where it's like you gotta make a decision. So if he decides he wants to go forward with the work, you want to have it done, let me know, and I'll see what I can do to help.
Okay. I turn
I
that
know
off.
it's gonna get it.